Welcome to Gestalt IT.
Hi, I'm Matt Tyrer.
Hi, Matt. Welcome to our Meet the Delegate discussion with you. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm born and raised in Ottawa, but a 20 plus year veteran in IT, starting in the data center. So I actually my first job was starting as a Unix system administrator, and then through that learned the ropes of the data center, got introduced into the vendor space at that point, worked for a number of vendors, actually worked for a poker company at one point, and then transitioned into data protection space. So where I spent the last 15 years at Commvault, serving on the sales side and the marketing side, and then helping to build out their competitive intelligence program before going out and building my own CI consultancy group called the Competitive Corner.
Sounds like you've had a pretty wide breadth of skills in your IT career. What's been one of the biggest challenges that you've faced?
Trying to keep up with everything, what the next turn on that hype cycle is, as depending on which analysts you talk to. And if you look at some of the discussions, it's like, well, data protection. Well, how has that changed? What are some of the new applications coming out? How does that need to be adjusted for the changes in cybersecurity? Kubernetes. Just throw another wrench in there in terms of something new. Anyone who's been in this industry, for any period of time can understand that the environments are getting more complex, are getting more diverse. We're never going to see one vendor owning the whole floor, especially in the enterprise, maybe for smaller and mid-sized stuff. So having to try and keep apprised of what everyone is doing in the market, where the market as a whole at the macro side is going, and then trying to understand, well, what are the things that I absolutely need to be sharp on, and then learning. So lots of learning.
So you mentioned learning is a challenge. It's something that people need to keep up with. What are some of your favorite ways to learn about technology?
Well, and this is not a plug, but when I need to learn about, what a product or a solution actually does, cutting through the marketing and stuff like that, I've frequently turned into the tech field days from Gestalt because, your crew has always been a no holds barred group that doesn't put up with, people skating on any thin ice. So. So they're a very good way of learning, about how a product works. What does it do? What are the use cases for it? Beyond that, YouTube is your friend. LinkedIn has some great posts from thought leaders as well. It's really trying to research, okay, well, who are the experts in this particular field, and then seeing what are they looking at, what are they researching, who are they talking to, and just trying to expand from there. So a little hit and miss at times, but eventually you kind of find the channels that are a little bit more dependable, and then you can start learning and building out that knowledge base.
I like that answer. What was your first computer?
My first computer, so I'll start with, I'm going to preface this because I got a computer fairly later in my childhood, but my first video game device was the Atari 2600. Mm-hmm. Played on a black and white TV, and I didn't realize that video games had color until we actually got a new TV, and I was like, wow, these things have color. But my first computer was a 386, got to install Wing Commander and all those fun games on there. I never really did any coding or anything like that, so it was really quite a challenge to first get into IT, when you didn't really have that tinkering background, or you weren't building systems, tearing them down, doing a lot of the play things. But I just found it really interesting because one of my, going all the way back to university, things that I was good at was understanding logic. Mm-hmm. And so, when you were troubleshooting things in IT, there was a logical pattern to it. Well, if this happened, then this is why it happened, and I can figure this out from that. Now, obviously, it's gotten a lot more complex since then, but it was that problem-solving element that certainly got me into it, and that I've enjoyed, throughout that career. It's just like, what's the next challenge? What's the next problem? How do I understand it? How do I solve it?
So if you weren't working in IT, what would you be doing?
If I won the Powerball and could do whatever I'd want, I'd probably open a pub and just tend the bar. To be honest, I've always been a people person, and it just seems, I know a lot of people in the brewing community, and it would just be a fun thing to do, just to get to know your community, get to know people, and I think that would be fun. But right now, my current challenge is building out my latest venture, which is the competitive corner. So my last role, before branching out on my own, was building, managing, running a competitive intelligence program at a large company. And I really enjoyed that because that space changes all the time. You just don't know. You could wake up tomorrow and somebody bought somebody else, or this person left that company, went over there, and so it's so dynamic, and I really enjoyed that. And what I found was when I looked across not just the industry that I was in, but across many different markets, it was something that there were two extremes of. There was the big enterprise companies that had a team of 5 to 10 people that were running a formalized program, or there was nobody, it was completely done ad hoc, tribal knowledge, and all that information was just scattered all over the place and typically lost. And so, having had experience building successful programs, I decided, there's a need for people to get some structure, formalize their programs, and maybe they don't dedicate people, but maybe I can come in and help.
Well, Matt, thank you very much for an opportunity to meet you and learn a little bit more about who you are. I know that our audience out there will really appreciate knowing a little bit about who you are and some of the cool stuff that you've done. If you want to see more great Meet the Delegate interviews with us, please make sure you check out gestaltit.com. And if you want to see Matt in action with a lot of the other cool delegates that we have here at VMware Explore 2023, make sure you go to techfieldday.com and look for Tech Field Day Extra at VMware Explore 2023, where you'll get to see great videos featuring Matt and several other delegates.